What's good, y'all? I'm Jerry, about to check out 10 times wrestlers perform whilst drunk. This video is by Cultaholic Wrestling. Wrestling while drunk is like the worst thing, or any other substance abuse addiction or problem that you on. It's like the worst thing you could possibly do, because not only is your life is on the line when you step into the ring, your opponent's life is on the line as well, because y'all trusting each other so much, and you have to be at your 100%. At 100% sober and able to carry a match and carry your opponent sometimes, and you can't really do anything while being intoxicated of alcohol or some type of substance abuse. So you're about to see 10 times wrestlers perform while drunk. Let's go.
Here's a bit of advice for you. Don't wrestle whilst drunk. You can have that one for free. Wrestling takes so much coordination to pull off safely. The last thing anybody needs is a performer with reduced awareness getting in the ring and putting everyone's safety at risk. So, naturally, wrestling history is full of examples of people turning up to work absolutely sozzled. I'm Adam Pachisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and here are 10 times wrestlers performed whilst drunk. Join us. Number 10, Alicia Fox. Usually, WWE house shows
I used to think Ric Flair was out there cutting promos drunk back in the day, like early 2000s, mid-2000s.
Consequences, and Chris Jericho can get in massive trouble for desecrating the Brazilian flag. However, in early 2019, something happened at an untelevised event that had major ramifications for one particular member of WWE staff. According to reports, Alicia Fox showed up to a live event in no condition to perform. Despite being intoxicated, she was given the all-clear to wrestle. As we already mentioned, this is a stupid idea. Just because the cameras aren't rolling, that doesn't mean that people can't get hurt.
I think she got fired right after this.
The person who really suffered as a result of this oversight was Arn Anderson. The former Horseman had been one of the agents that night and was the one who said that Fox could compete in her compromised state. Vince was apparently furious, and the enforcer was duly fired.
Wow.
Number 9, JBL. John Bradshaw Layfield has many loves in life. The state of Texas, money, the soapy feel of his fellow wrestler naked in a shower. He also really enjoys beating the jelly out of ECW wrestlers, as this infamous moment from 2005 proves. At the first one-night stand, JBL was one of the more vocal members of the anti-ECW Crusaders that were in attendance. The night ended with a massive brawl between the Land of the Extreme and the combined forces of Raw and SmackDown. And you all know what happened next. JBL went to town on the Blue Meanie, beating him to a bloody pulp in front of everybody. This was perhaps partly driven by his hatred for that brand, but alcohol also played its part, because the former acolyte was absolutely wasted on that night in the Hammerstein Ballroom. You can hear the full extent of his drunken ramblings on the show's DVD extras, but we will let you discover them for yourselves, rather than risk our channel being taken down. Number 8, Scott Hall. Scott Hall's substance abuse issues started long before he decided to get into the wrestling business, when a shocking incident in his mid-20s left him suffering from PTSD.
Rest in peace, Scott Hall.
Turning to booze and pills and whatever else would help him forget the tragic night he ended up killing a man in self-defense, the bad guy's problem started to get really bad during his WCW days, and was so pronounced that the company made the regrettable decision to turn his struggles into a storyline. After that, the former Intercontinental Champion continued to go down a dark path. Things seemed to be near their darkest when Hall showed up at a Top Rope Promotions event in April of 2011 and decided on getting physical despite barely being able to stand up without stumbling and falling over. Moving as if in slow motion, he looked worryingly frail and needed a small entourage just to get him from the ring to behind the curtain. A stark reminder, as if it were needed, of the daily battle the bad guy fought. Number 7, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett is one of the wrestling industry's greatest survivors, managing to reinvent himself and stay in the game for, coming up nearly 40 years now?
40 years?
While Jay's ability to adapt and stay relevant ought to be applauded and perhaps studied by scientists, there have, of course, been some bumps in the road. In the mid-2010s, when Jarrett was on the outs with TNA and attempting to start up his Global Force Wrestling venture, it became apparent that the former NWA World's Champion was fulfilling some of his bookings after stopping off at the bar first. He and wife Karen were accused of being drunk and disorderly at an IWA Mid-South show in 2014, and it was then alleged that Jeff was plastered at 2016's WrestleCon Super Show in Dallas. Things came to a head in October of 2017 when a video emerged of Jarrett wrestling while drunk at a Canadian indie show. The promoter claimed that the Chosen One turned up late and drank until he passed out backstage before waking up and deciding to give it the old college try. Jarrett subsequently boarded a plane and headed for WWE's sponsored rehab. Number 6, Shawn Michaels.
HBK,
Shawn Michaels
wrestle
definitely
drunk.
let fame and fortune go to his head and spent most of his run in the 90s drinking, smoking, or otherwise ingesting things that his grandmother would not have been pleased with. The showstopper's issues with bad stuff have been discussed in depth, and the man himself has even spoken about them at great length. In an interview with Sports Illustrated in 2017, Michaels admitted that he got into the ring after a heavy sesh. According to the Heartbreak Kid, he was so naturally talented that he could perform at a high level without being fully with it. If this was anyone else but HBK, we would call BS, but come on, the guy could get 5 stars if he was wrestling in a morph suit. The Texas native didn't go into any detail on which matches he wrestled drunk, and clearly he couldn't have ever been that bad, as nobody has ever said anything. But just because you can wrestle drunk, Shawn, doesn't mean you should.
Shawn was an
I'm
asshole
angry,
back in the
I'm
day.
just disappointed. It's enough to make a man lose
During
his
that time, he
style,
was an
I tell ya.
asshole.
Number 5, Road Warrior Hawk. WCW
Rest
might
in
have
peace.
used Scott Hall's alcoholism as part of their on-screen product, but at least they never pretended to kill the guy by shoving him off a Titantron. At least
Whoa.
that, eh? This is what happened during an infamous segment on Raw when Road Warrior Hawk fell off the big screen after weeks of drunken antics. Well,
What?
I say fell, but we all know it was Droz who pushed him. Whilst all this stuff was within storyline, there was another
Recipe
instance
Droz,
of the
too.
H-Man turning up to an event in less than stellar condition. SummerSlam 1992. Wembley Stadium. That kid who said Bulldog was going to win whether he wanted to or not. What a time to be alive. However, there would have been no use asking Hawk about this night, as he was so tanked up for the LOD's match against Money Inc. that there's no way he could have remembered any of it. Ted DiBiase and IRS apparently complained about Hawk's behaviour, but he was never properly punished for his unprofessionalism.
Damn.
Number 4, William Regal.
William Regal?
Blackpool's greatest son will be the first to tell you that his career in life was severely hampered by a dependency on booze and pills.
Yeah.
William Regal had serious issues
It's
with
crazy
stuff,
how
and he even had to check into rehab in
pills and
1999
stuff
to help
affected
sort
some
out
of these
his
guys that had
addictions.
majority
The
of
following
them
unfortunate
died at a young age.
incidents on Raw took place before he had a chance to clean himself up. Under the name Steven Regal, and with the so bad it's amazing real man's man gimmick on his side, his lordship was set to face Goldust on the November 2nd, 1998 edition of WWE's flagship show. From the moment he steps out, you can tell that something is up. He trips up slightly walking to the ring before delivering a slurred promo that's genuinely quite hard to sit through. How he remembers all of his words is a minor miracle, but there is no hiding the fact that he is royally pissed up here.
Man.
Furthermore, he then goes on to have his match. The guy could barely walk down to the ring in a straight line, and here he was trying to apply chin locks. Thank the Lord that those days are now behind him. Number 3, the Sandman. How are we only now speaking about
Yeah,
the
his
original
gimmick
ECW?
was
The house that
drinking
Heyman
beer.
built was notorious for having no rules, a policy that seemingly extended to the real world for those who called it home. Whilst there's been plenty of rumours surrounding the culture of the ECW locker room, there is no getting around the fact that Sandman would quite often wrestle whilst drunk. I mean, he literally downed beer as part of his entrance. It's not like he was trying to hide it. At the same one-night stand event that JBL got smashed and then smashed up Blue Meanie, Sandman was also completely blotto.
Wow.
You can see this when Stone Cold Steve Austin attempts to deliver the show-closing promo, but gets routinely distracted by Sandman getting right up in his face. Just look at those eyes, he's not even on this planet anymore. Plenty of stories about old Sandy persist to this day, like the one about him dropping acid right before a ladder match with Sabu.
What?
Clearly he was comfortable enough with wrestling drunk to do it so often. Number 2, Jake Roberts. Alongside Scott Hall, Jake the Snake Roberts is probably the wrestler most
openly known that he used to struggle with addiction issues.
Abuse. One of the most popular
thanks to DDP and WWE, got him clean.
Jake's predilections cost him many years of his career and might have cost him his life had DDP not stepped in.
Yeah.
When it comes to drunken wrestlers, few events are as infamous as 1999's Heroes of Wrestling from Las Vegas. What was supposed to be a celebration of a bygone era turned into a stark reminder that all of your childhood favourites were not what they used to be. Roberts was meant to wrestle Jim Neidhart one-on-one at the event, but got so drunk that the promoter made the match a tag team bout instead. This did little to fix things, as Roberts was still clearly out of it. We're not sure what's worse, his backstage promo, him rubbing himself on a member of the crowd, or him pretending that his snake was his willy. You decide. The Hall of Famer is fortunately doing a lot better now, but there was a time where things did not look good for the master of the DDT. Number 1, Andre the Giant. If there is one thing we know about Andre the Giant, it is that he could drink. Well, and also that he was a giant. Clues in the name, innit? There are countless myths and legends surrounding the big man's
They say he can go
including that he once put away 156 beers in a single sitting. One of the most talked about
who used to pick his ass up though once he passed out
with his work came in 1986 when he took on a Japanese wrestler named Akira Maeda. The match was a total mess as Akira got so angry at his opponent's drunkenness that he started attacking him for real. After 30 agonizing minutes, Antonio Inoki came down to the ring and demanded that the match be stopped. And when Inoki told you to do something, you did it. Rumor has it that the New Japan founder sent a tanked up Andre into battle on purpose to teach the unruly Akira a lesson.
Alright y'all, another great video, man. Let me know down below in the comments of what y'all thought of my reaction to this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.